As of June 2003, it is important to note that no manufacturer is authorized to mark their listed compression-type electrical metallic tubing fittings with the term Raintight. This means that at this time, there are no electrical metallic tubing fittings approved by any nationally recognized testing laboratory that can be officially classified and labeled as Raintight. The implications of this situation can vary significantly depending on the specific location and its adherence to electrical codes and regulations. For jurisdictions that strictly enforce Raintight requirements for certain applications, this issue may present a significant challenge. In such cases, electrical inspectors and contractors will need to carefully consider alternative solutions to ensure compliance with the relevant codes and standards. This may involve exploring the use of other types of conduit and fittings that are specifically designed and approved for Raintight applications. In contrast, other jurisdictions may not place as much emphasis on Raintight requirements, or they may have local ordinances or codes that take precedence over the National Electrical Code sections 90.4 and 90.7. In these areas, the absence of listed Raintight electrical metallic tubing fittings may be less of a concern. Regardless of the jurisdiction, it is essential for electrical professionals to stay informed about the current status of product listings and approvals. This includes carefully reviewing product packaging and documentation to verify whether a particular electrical metallic tubing fitting is actually listed as Raintight. If there is any doubt, it is always best to contact the manufacturer directly to confirm the fitting's listing status and intended applications. Furthermore, it is crucial to understand the specific requirements of the local electrical codes and regulations. This may involve consulting with electrical inspectors or other authorities to determine the appropriate type of fittings to use for a given application. In situations where Raintight connections are necessary, it may be necessary to explore alternative wiring methods such as the use of rigid metal conduit or liquid-tight flexible metal conduit. These types of conduit systems are typically designed to provide a higher level of protection against moisture and water ingress. In addition to selecting the appropriate type of conduit and fittings, it is also important to ensure that the connections are properly installed. This includes using the correct tools and techniques to tighten the fittings and to seal any potential points of water entry. Proper installation is essential to maintain the integrity of the electrical system and to prevent electrical hazards. Staying informed about changes in product listings and code requirements is an ongoing process. Electrical professionals should regularly attend industry events, read trade publications, and visit the websites of organizations such as Underwriters Laboratories to stay up to date on the latest developments. By taking these steps, electrical professionals can ensure that they are providing safe and compliant electrical installations. Electrical metallic tubing is a popular choice for electrical conduit due to its lightweight, ease of installation, and relatively low cost. It is commonly used in both residential and commercial applications to protect electrical wiring from physical damage. However, electrical metallic tubing is not inherently Raintight, and it relies on the fittings to provide a watertight seal. The absence of listed Raintight electrical metallic tubing fittings means that electrical contractors and installers need to be extra careful when using electrical metallic tubing in wet or damp locations. It is important to select fittings that are specifically designed for use with electrical metallic tubing and that provide a tight, secure connection. It is also important to follow the manufacturer's instructions for installation carefully. In some cases, it may be necessary to use additional sealing compounds or tapes to ensure a watertight seal. The National Electrical Code provides specific requirements for the installation of electrical equipment in wet and damp locations. Section 300.6 of the National Electrical Code requires that electrical equipment installed in wet locations be identified for use in wet locations. This means that the equipment must be designed and constructed to prevent water from entering and damaging the electrical components. Section 314.15 of the National Electrical Code requires that boxes and fittings installed in wet locations be Raintight. This means that the boxes and fittings must be designed and constructed to prevent water from entering the enclosure. The National Electrical Code also provides requirements for the use of electrical metallic tubing in wet locations. Section 348.12 of the National Electrical Code permits the use of electrical metallic tubing in wet locations if it is installed with fittings that are identified for use in wet locations. However, as noted above, there are currently no electrical metallic tubing fittings that are listed as Raintight. This means that electrical contractors and installers need to be extra careful when using electrical metallic tubing in wet locations to ensure that the installation meets the requirements of the National Electrical Code. One option for providing a Raintight connection with electrical metallic tubing is to use a listed Raintight connector. A Raintight connector is a fitting that is designed and constructed to provide a watertight seal between the electrical metallic tubing and the enclosure. Raintight connectors are typically made of metal or plastic and have a rubber gasket or O-ring that seals the connection. Another option for providing a Raintight connection with electrical metallic tubing is to use a listed Raintight sealant. A Raintight sealant is a compound that is applied to the connection between the electrical metallic tubing and the enclosure to create a watertight seal. Raintight sealants are typically made of silicone or polyurethane and are available in a variety of colors. When using electrical metallic tubing in wet locations, it is important to inspect the installation regularly for signs of water damage. If water damage is detected, the affected component should be replaced immediately. In addition to the National Electrical Code requirements, some local jurisdictions may have additional requirements for the installation of electrical equipment in wet locations. It is important to check with the local electrical inspector to determine the specific requirements for the area. The absence of listed Raintight electrical metallic tubing fittings is a reminder that electrical contractors and installers need to be diligent in ensuring that electrical installations meet the requirements of the National Electrical Code and local codes. By taking the necessary precautions, electrical professionals can help to prevent electrical hazards and ensure the safety of the public. Always consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector if you have any questions about the installation of electrical equipment in wet locations. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others from harm. The information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. The National Electrical Code is a complex document, and it is essential to have a thorough understanding of the code before performing any electrical work. Improper electrical installations can be dangerous and can lead to fires, electric shocks, and other hazards. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions for installing electrical equipment. The manufacturer's instructions will provide specific guidance on how to install the equipment safely and correctly. If you are not comfortable performing electrical work, it is best to hire a qualified electrician. A qualified electrician has the training and experience necessary to perform electrical work safely and correctly. In summary, the absence of listed Raintight electrical metallic tubing fittings means that electrical contractors and installers need to be extra careful when using electrical metallic tubing in wet or damp locations. It is important to select fittings that are specifically designed for use with electrical metallic tubing and that provide a tight, secure connection. It is also important to follow the manufacturer's instructions for installation carefully. In some cases, it may be necessary to use additional sealing compounds or tapes to ensure a watertight seal. The National Electrical Code provides specific requirements for the installation of electrical equipment in wet and damp locations. It is important to comply with these requirements to ensure the safety of the electrical installation.